How's it going, people of YouTube? Your boy Slay is back in the building, and he's here today to bring you a new video. Today I'm bringing you my top 10 favorite sports movies. I've seen plenty of them in my lifetime. This was actually relatively easy to write down. But with every great list, there's a couple honorable mentions. And here they are. The Longest Yard, The Blind Side, Air Bud, Radio, The Mighty Ducks, The Replacements, Rookie of the Year, Pistol, When the Game Stands Tall, Greatest Game Ever Played, and finally the Rocky and Creed movies. That's all. The last one honorable mention is on my top 10 favorite movie franchises. Go check it out. Anyways, coming in at number 10. Before we begin, most if not all, almost all of these movies have some sort of historical value to it. But anyways, coming in at number 10, we have the movie 42. It's probably one of the only baseball movies I have on this list. But 42 follows the life and rise of Jackie Robinson as he becomes the first MLB player, the first African American Major League Baseball player. And not only that, not only does it focus on his rise to it, it also focuses on the relationship between him and the Dodgers general manager. And I really don't have much to say about this. It's a really fantastic movie, Chadwick Boseman did a fantastic job. And yes, if you think about it, it's the Black Panther, it's the same person. But anyways, moving on. Coming in at number 9 is another historical movie, and that is We Are Marshall. I believe it's happened. I believe in the early 1970s, when the University of Marshall's football program, coach and everything, all but one tragically died in a plane wreck, tragically died in a plane crash. So this young offensive coordinator had become the new head coach and literally built it from the ground up. Now, there was only one person to survive from the original football program, and he had to live with that guilt for the rest of his whole life. But the reason why they call it the Marshall the Herd is because, the Thundering Herd, is because the new coach coined the term, which is the Young Thundering Herd, and from that the name stuck. While this is a tragic movie, a historical movie based in some tragedy, it has a really sweet ending. Because of the fountain, they turn it off to honor the people who passed away. It's actually a real thing. But the one remains the sole survivor of the plane crash was when he passed away, was buried with his teammates. And that's all I have to say about that. Moving on. Coming at number 8, we have another recent historical event, and it's called The Fifth Quarter. This follows a story of not only a football player, but a program and their family and the player's family, as they experienced tragedy and that their youngest son was killed in a car wreck. While his heart was good, he was brain dead, and once the brain goes, you're done. This death literally not only galvanized the family, but the team around him, and it pushed the older brother to not only change his number, but it also, in every event that begins the fourth quarter, they all hold up the number 5. Because the younger brother's number, he was originally a quarterback that moved to linebacker and had the number 5. so much so that it literally motivated the older brother, and that it helped him. He actually helped his team, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, to actually win their first ACC championship. Sometimes tragedy is a driving force to victory. But with that said, let's move on. Coming in at a respectable number 7, and proper too, is the Kendrick Brothers movie Facing the Giants. While this is the only movie that has no historical value whatsoever, it is still a phenomenal movie. Here you follow Coach Grant Taylor of the Shiloh Christian Academy Eagles, as he was struggling just to get a winning season for 6 years, and the trials he faced, and because they're thinking about moving on from him, but unbeknownst to him, God was working in the background, because after that last person moved to Tucker, that was basically the last. Like Gideon, he was weeding out the unfaithful. God was weeding out the unfaithful. So much so that even though they started 0-3, he started to look up. And because of that, they were literally able to not only have a winning record, but go on to the postseason and actually win it all. But to do that, to win it all, they had to face a team 3 times their size. This is a fantastic movie. Well, and it's not, and it doesn't just follow his football, his coaching career. Excuse me. It also follows his day-to-day life, like what happens outside, you know. But this is a fantastic movie. I highly recommend it. Let's move on. Coming in at number 6 is a really enjoyable one, and I could not leave this off the list. I had to put it on, and that is Rudy. Here you follow the story of Daniel Rudiger as he attempts to try and play for Notre Dame, and he is stopped at every turn he faces, from the coaches not wanting to play him because they think he doesn't have any talent because of his size. But it just goes to show that size isn't that big things come from little packages. Even though he eventually started one of his last games, he was able to at least leave his final game with a single sack. But if that coach from Miami actually put him on early, he probably had a lot more. See, the people literally was behind Rudy because they all wanted to see him play. So much so that they all started chanting Rudy throughout the whole Notre Dame stadium. While he went on to become, I think, a lawyer or something like that, this movie shows what happened throughout his life. And with that, let's continue. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the home. Alright, when we're getting into the nitty gritty. Coming in at number 5, we have another historical figure movie, and that is The Express. The Express follows the life of Ernie Davis and his rise to becoming the first African American to win the Heisman, as well as helping his team and his coach Ben Schwartzwalder to win a national championship. Back in the days, you had to have a perfect season to even be considered a national champion. But sometimes history is not nice to those who wield it. And tragically, Ernie Davis died of leukemia at the age of 23. It's sad, really. The good one. And to think, if he and after he graduated college, he had a chance to be right behind Jim Brown as a Cleveland Brown. Had them two been in the same backfield together, the Browns would have won a lot more championships, even with the merger. But that's life for you. Life's always unfair. You can either stay down when it kicks you down, or get back on the horse. Now, coming in at number 4 is one of the most historical upsets in the entire in the world, and that is Glory Road. And Glory Road is a movie that follows Coach Don Haskins as he not only recruits but also plays with as he begins a new coaching career at Texas Western. He has to recruit people to win, but it also shows the road he took to get there. You know? He ended up leading the 1966 Texas Western over the Kentucky Wildcats while starting 5 African American players. But it not only shows the rise, but also shows the trials and tribulations they face, you know, being that they have African Americans on their team. They faced a lot of scrutiny back then. Who wouldn't, you know? But it's amazing to see that they actually, because of Texas Western, they changed the game of basketball. But let's keep this train rolling. Coming in at number 3, we have the movie Miracle. And Miracle follows, I forgot what the coach's name was, but anyways, it basically follows I believe like 1970 or something like that. But anyways, we're in the height of the Cold War, and we followed, I forgot, Herb I think his name was. But anyways, we followed the 1970 to 80 team, the hockey team, as they try to beat Russia in the Olympics. This is literally in the Cold War, where everything was literally what set this up so beautifully, because we're getting towards the height of the Cold War, but everything just everywhere you turn, it was bad news. Gas, but oil scarce, you know, Jimmy Carter not doing anything, you know, everything was just going wrong, you know. But when everything was going wrong, there was a little bit of hope. I think it was Herb Brooks was his name. Anyways, the coach was Herb Brooks' name. But anyways, he literally, I mean, for this coach to win it all, he had to be relentless. And so, to try and beat Russia, he had to recruit a team, and eventually get down to 20, which I can tell you right now, as any coach will tell you, it's a hard thing to do, especially when we got such great players. But he always tested his teammates whenever possible to try and galvanize, basically get them cohesed. I can't say enough about this movie. It's really good. Now, coming in at number 2, we have Coach Carter. This is another basketball. This is another basketball movie I highly recommend, as it follows, as you guessed, Coach Carter. But this is in Richland, California, and he took on a program that was going literally in the tank. And because he wanted those kids. I mean, this coach was relentless. He wanted, and it's actually his son was also on his team because he transferred over from a rival team because he didn't get playing time. But he wanted his teammates to not only dress nice like college pro interviews, but to also have an amazing grade point average, because he wanted them to go on to college and get out of the crime-ridden city that is Richland, or at least at the time it was. And to prove a point that basketball is just a game, he literally had a lockdown until his teammates got their grades up. I can't say praise this movie enough. But anyway, even though they didn't win a playoff game, but they just proved they could hang with the best of them, and that Coach Carter was the right man for the job. Now, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the pinnacle. Now, what movie could be my personal favorite? Well, and that is, sorry, I had a little brain fart right there. Anyways, and that is Remember the Titans. Here we follow the story of Coach Boone and Yokes as they merge together to form a new integrated school at T.C. Williams. And and as far as Coach Boone and this whole program, they literally had their backs against the wall. One loss, and everything is shut down. This is around the time of the height of the tension between people who want integration and who wanted segregation. But it also has some tragedy, as well. One of the two leaders of the defensive side, Gary Bertier, was killed. Not only first got wrecked before going to the state, he was also paralyzed, but also eventually tragically died in a car wreck. But him and Julian remained best friends to the end of his days. And it just goes to show, like, it's better to stand together and fight than it is to do it alone. I can't praise this movie enough. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings an end to this list. Did you agree with my opinion? Did you disagree? Comment down below, let me know. I'm not the end-all be-all opinion, okay? But let's get this conversation started. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Slayer. You stay salty out there.